blending. And again, blending is the weakness of Vietnam. And so that also another governance issue we would like to learn from the other Delta.
Governor Bowo, integrated planning is something that you
Yes,
have
indeed.
experience with.
I just want to underline this because, collaboration, integration, it is not only necessary among countries, but practically among governance and governments. In our case, in Jakarta, we need to collaborate with the central government, other provinces, and then also other local authorities. And, the success story or the good best practices among the alliances is, I think, something that we can use as a benchmark. Yeah. A benchmark, and it is also good for showing to the community that is basically the carrying agents for change and for development. And also for political parties. We are very proud to be the third largest democracy in the world, but with all the consequences anyway.
It takes a lot of time.
Yes, indeed. And it is good to have best practices, to invite our many political parties to know and to also to understand us how to achieve it. Yeah? And this is what I think the positive sides of the alliances for us and for Jakarta in particular.
Excellent. Mr. Ren, what do you see as is there a future for collaboration with as an NGO? Are you always pulling on the shortest end of the stick?
Yeah, let's say NGO in China currently they can't more like the catalysm. It just can link different the government department. Since in China the department is so powerful, the NGO they are low, just not control the situation, just link them together. For example, we initiated the Yangtze Forum in China. So initiated this forum, invite the governor from different provinces to join this forum. And at the beginning, this is the WWF initiated this issue. But in 3 years later, the Ministry of the Water Resource, they said it is a very good platform. So they buy in this the forum. So currently they are organizing this issue. I think this is at the beginning the WWF can initiate some good idea. Yeah, this is their role.
Will Travis, you are San Francisco Bay is of course within one country, but sometimes it seems that there are so many eloquent stakeholders around the San Francisco Bay that you might as well have 9 countries around the Bay.
You're right. I was just reading a projection that in San Francisco by the year 2020 there will be more lawyers than people. And we have a lot of stakeholders, and I think it's very interesting listening to the discussion here where we're talking about collaboration, cooperation, bringing science in, sharing information, but to a large degree it's such an abstraction. And what we are forming here, I think, is an alliance of much of anything as individuals. We're meeting people that we know, perhaps do not trust yet, but at least we have their email address. And it is helpful as we're trying to distill all of this information, have people that we can call on. And David Wagoner earlier today said, ultimately, what we need to do to inspire people is have an image of what we're talking about. And I think that's one of the wonderful things that's come out of the competition. There are images now of what we're talking about, what we mean when we're talking about these abstractions. And to some degree, we all have stories to share. And I earlier today heard a story about a Vietnamese farmer and how he was dealing with the issues. I will take that home and I will remember that far more than I remember what presentation I went to earlier today. So I think that is the beginning of this collaboration in the Delta Alliance. We have met people who are dealing with similar problems from a different perspective, and it's somebody else we can call on now when it's the middle of the night and we can't figure out quite what to do.
Thank you, Will. Could I ask you, Kees Slingerland, to finish up our panel by a reflection on what seems to be the newest manifestation of the polder model as an export product?
Well, now you make the question very difficult, because I was just thinking that we have had in the past half an hour just some examples and a little bit of show of how Delta Alliance could function. And I already mentioned in my lecture that, I mean, it is a development. It is searching how you can get the best cooperation in a Delta Alliance. And if the polder model, which is respecting anybody in its own position and still trying to share information, to share goals of each other, and to come to a joint goal that all of us could achieve, on itself could be a good way to have this Delta Alliance functioning. We think that also from the examples that we heard here and that we heard in the workshops, it is doable to have a set of projects that are, let me say, in technical and physical terms, because the deltas do have many similarities, so do have many lessons to teach to each other. So in that sense, a clever set of projects that really would bring us a step ahead is doable as a target. But the whole discussion of governance, of course, governance can be very important in having things succeeding or having things being blocked. And, well, we will deal with governance in the sense of sharing information. I think also during this conference that we have seen that many activities are being done. For instance, today in the Mekong Delta, there was an example that hardly nobody knew about, which was presented here. So by just sharing information, but also doing that with an openness and a transparency, already helps us in coming steps forward, also in terms of governance. Of course, Delta Alliance will never take any political position, because that's not to us to take any political position. But by already sharing information and opening up a lot of information, we can be much more efficient in the total research input that we do worldwide. Because if we see how big budgets we are spending on research and a lot of activities that we do in climate change, in delta problems and delta challenges, then I do already know many examples where we are doubling type of activities. And if we only could open up information in order to be more efficient in this total spending of money on trying to get delta problems solved and delta challenges getting to a future, that would already be a good contribution. And having this discussion, having the day of today, having the Knowledge for Climate program that has given us not only motivation but also small money to start up with, but for sure having such kind of partners as we have experienced in the past half hour, I think we have the best guarantee to come to a good future, and to, together with this whole group and any other who would like to add, please put your signature at the Delta Alliance Declaration, and you help us to join the world. Thank you very much.
Well, Kees, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then may I invite the members of our distinguished panel to come forward and put their signature on this document of great symbolic meaning. And all of you can add your signature to the panel, which is outside in the hallway when we go outside for a drink. I'm not a dignitary. I don't want to be on the picture. I'm not one of the dignitaries.
But I'm Dutch. I will get all the Dutch countries coming. Don't you think so?
Yes, hello. Oh, this you will. Thank you.
So much. I'll give you mine. It's in my
Thank you.
purse.
Trips back. I give you my